In this video, we are going to discuss about inheritance in Python programming. First, let's see what is the definition of inheritance. Inheritance means the process of creating a new class from old class. So this old class is nothing but already existing class. If we create a new class from already existing class, that is old class, then this is called as inheritance. Inheritance means acquiring the properties of old class. Okay, here the old class is called as parent class, whereas new class is called as child class. Old class can also be called as base class. New class can also be called as derived class. Old class can also be called as super class. New class can also be called as subclass. Okay, so old class can be called as parent class or base class or super class, whereas new class can be called as child class or derived class or subclass. Acquiring the properties of base class is nothing but inheritance. So inheritance means creating a new class from old class. What is the major advantage of the inheritance? The major advantage of inheritance is reusability. Let the parent class contains 3 variables and 2 functions, whereas this child class contains 3 functions. Here the base class contains only its members. So base class contains 3 variables as well as 2 functions, whereas this derived class contains its members as well as its base class members. So derived class contains its 3 functions as well as its base class members such as 3 variables and 2 functions. So these will be also available in derived class. So derived class contains its members as well as base class members also. The best example for inheritance is any human being. Any human being is the best example for inheritance. Why? Because we inherit our features and genetics from our parents, from our grandparents. So that's why we can say that any human being is the best example for the inheritance. Now let us see different types of inheritance in Python. Types of inheritance in Python. So mainly we have 4 types are there. First one is single inheritance. So first type of inheritance is single inheritance. Second one is multiple inheritance. Third one is multi-level inheritance. Let us discuss hierarchical. So third one is hierarchical inheritance. Fourth one is multi-level inheritance. So these 4 are the major types of inheritance. So what is the first one? Single inheritance. So first let us discuss about what is single inheritance. The name itself specifies the meaning. Single inheritance means we will have single derived class. This is the derived class. So single derived class as well as single base class. So the name itself specifies the meaning. Single derived class and single base class. So the process of deriving a single derived class from a single base class is called as single inheritance. Deriving a single derived class from a single base class is called as single inheritance. Let us see an example for this. Let we have base class. Let name of the base class is base. Let B is uppercase letter. Let base class contains a method, a function. So def, let name of the function is fun1 of, we know that every method in the class must contain self as the parameter. It ends with a colon. Next, let us write the body. So print, let the body of this function is function1. Let us close the right parenthesis. Now let us derive a derived class. So class derived, let name of the derived class is derived. Here we are creating the derived class by inheriting from the base class. So if we want to implement inheritance, then within the parenthesis we have to pass base class name. Here the base class name is base. So now derived class contains its own members as well as its base class member also. Base class contains a method called fun1. Now we can access the fun1 with the help of derived class object also. Okay. And now here define one more method, def fun2 of self. Let us provide the definition for the fun2. So print function2. Now let us create, by using object of base class, we can access only this base class function. Whereas by using the object of the derived class, we can access fun2 as well as its base class member also. Okay, that is the advantage of the inheritance. Derived class contains its own member as well as its base class member also. Let us create an object. Let name of the object is D. So D is equal to, what is the name of the class? Derived, left parenthesis, right parenthesis. Next, let us call the functions d dot fun1 next to d dot fun2. So whenever we call d dot fun1, then this function body will execute function1. Whenever we call d dot fun2, then fun2 function will be executed. Function2 will be executed. This is about single inheritance. Okay. Now let us see the second one. What is the second one? The second type of inheritance is multiple inheritance. What is single inheritance? Creating a derived class from a single base class. Whereas multiple inheritance means deriving a single derived class from multiple base classes. So multiple inheritance means we will have multiple base classes, 2 or more than 2 base classes, whereas we will have only one derived class. Okay, so let us see the diagram. So we will have multiple base classes. Let this is base 1. Let this is base 2. Likewise, we can have multiple base classes. Whereas we can have only one derived class. So deriving a single derived class from multiple base classes is called as multiple inheritance. Now derived class contains its members as well as the members of base 1 and base 2 also. Now by using the object of the derived class, we can access its base class members also. Okay. So the first class is base 1. Let base 1 contains function 2. Now let us have one more base class. So class base 2. Here let us define second function, def fun2. We need to pass self as the argument. Let body of this function is function 2. So print function 2. So base 1 and base 2 are the base classes. Now let us have the derived class. So class derived of. Now we are creating this derived class by inheriting from base 1 and base 2. So we have to pass base 1 and base 2 parameters. Okay. So it specifies that we are creating this class by inheriting from base 1 class, base 2 class. Now in derived class, we can use the members of base 1 and base 2 also. So we can, these two functions now will be available in derived class also. Def, let us have the body. Let name of the function is fun3. Self, we need to pass self as the parameter. So print, let body of the function is function 3. Function 3. Now we need to create the object for the derived class. Okay, let us create object for the derived class. D is equal to derived. D is equal to derived. Now by using this D, we can access base 1 function, we can access base 2 function as well as derived function also. D dot fun3. Okay. Why? Because we have created object for the derived class. Now the derived class contains these 3 functions: fun1 function, fun2 function, fun3 function. If we call fun1 function, we will get message as we will get message as function1. If we call fun2 function, we will get message as fun2. If we call fun3 function, we will get message as function3. Okay. This is about multiple inheritance. Now let us see the next one, that is hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance is an opposite to the multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, we will have multiple base classes and one derived class. Whereas in hierarchical inheritance, we will have only one base class and multiple derived classes. In hierarchical, we will have one base class and multiple derived class. One base class and multiple derived class. So we will have only in hierarchical inheritance one base class and we can have multiple derived classes. Let first one is derived 1, derived 2. Likewise, we can create a number of derived classes. So what is hierarchical inheritance? The process of deriving multiple derived classes from a single base class. The process of deriving multiple derived classes from a single base class is called as hierarchical inheritance. Now derived 1 class contains its members as well as base class members. Derived 2 class contains its member as well as its base class member. Now we have to create an object for the derived 1 class as well as an object for the derived 2 class. By using the object of derived 1 class, we can access this class member as well as its base class member. By using the object of derived 2 class, we can access this class members as well as its base class members. Here there is no relation between derived 1 and derived 2. Those two are different classes. So that's why we need to create object for both the classes. So now let us develop the program. So class. So what is the name of the base class? Base. So class base. Class base. Let us have a method. So def fun1 self. Let the body of the function is print function 1. Print function 1. Now let us create the derived class derived 1 of here we are inheriting from this base class. Now let us create function 2 fun2 of self print of, let the body here is print of function 2. So now by using object of derived 1 class, we can access derived 1 class member as well as its base class member also. So we can access fun1 and fun2. Next class derived 2 of, we are creating this derived 2 class by inheriting from the base class. Now here let us have function 3. So def fun3 self, let the body here is print of function 3. Print of function 3. Now we need to create two objects. D1 is equal to derived 1. Next to D2 is equal to derived 2. So by using D1 we can access fun1 and fun2. So D1 dot fun1, D1 dot fun2. Now by using D2 we can access fun3 and fun1. So D1 dot fun1 and D1 dot fun3. D1 dot fun3. So likewise the appropriate messages will be printed. Function 1, function 2, function 1, function 3. Likewise we will get the messages. Now let us see the last one. The last type of inheritance is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level, the name itself specifies the meaning. What is the last one? Hierarchical is over. The last one is multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, we will have multiple levels are there. Let this level is grandparent level, this level is parent level, this level is child level. So grandparent level, parent level, child level. Here grandparent is the base class from which we derived the parent class. So this parent class is the derived class. So here we are deriving parent class from the grandparent class. So this will become the base class and this will become the derived class. Okay. Next, again we are deriving child class by inheriting from the parent class. Now this parent class will become the base class for this child class. So this child class is derived class. Okay. So here this parent class acts as derived class for the grandparent class, and this parent class acts as base class for this child class. So this is called as multi-level. Multi-level inheritance means the process of creating a derived class from another derived class. Here we are deriving child class from the parent class. Parent class is nothing but derived class only. Okay. Parent class is derived class only, but that acts as base class for this child class. Okay. So this is about multi-level. We will have multiple levels are there. Likewise, we can have n number of levels. There is no problem. So this is called as multi-level. So let us have an example for this. And after that, we are going to execute practically in the computer. So class, let the first class name is grandparent. Let in this G and P are uppercase letter. Let us define the function. So def fun1 of self, print of function 1, print of function 1. Next, let us create parent class from grandparent class. So we have to pass grandparent as the argument. Let us have fun2 function here. So fun2 of self, print of function 2, print of function 2. Now this parent class contains fun2 as well as fun1 also. Okay. Why? Because it is inherited from the grandparent class. Next, class child of parent. Here we are creating the child class by inheriting from the parent class. Now child class contains fun1, fun2, okay, as well as its function also. Let its function is fun3. So define fun3 of self, print of function 3, print of function 3. Here parent class contains fun1 and fun2. Here we are deriving the child class by inheriting from the parent class. Parent class contains two functions such as fun1 and fun2, and child class contains fun3. Now we have to create an object for the child class. Now by using that object we can access those three functions. Let object name is C. So C is equal to child. So C dot fun1, C dot fun2, C dot fun3. Okay. Likewise, we can implement multi-level inheritance. Now let us see practically. Now let us see the practical implementation. So new file. First let's see the program for single inheritance. Single inheritance. We know that we can give comments by using hash symbol. Let us create the base class. Let name of the base class is base colon. Let define one function def. Let name of the function is fun1. We must pass self as the parameter whenever we want to define a function in the class. Let the body of this function is so print of function 1, print of function 1. Now let us define the derived class. So class, let name of the class is derived. We have to pass base as the parameter because this is the derived class. Now let us define fun2. def fun2 of self. So let the body of this function is print of function2. Function2. So now derived class contains fun1 as well as fun2. By using the object of the derived class, we can access both fun1 as well as fun2 also. An object is created for the derived class. So d dot fun1, d dot fun2, d dot fun2. Now let us save the program. Alt F, save as some INH inheritance. Let us run the program F5. So we got the output as function1 and function2. That means by using the derived class object, we accessed both derived class function as well as the base class function. Now let us see the second type of inheritance. The second type of inheritance is multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, we will have two base classes. Let us create another base class. We will have two base classes. Class, let name of the first base class is base1. Now let us create base2. So class base2 def fun2 of self print function2. Now we have to create the derived class by inheriting from base1 and base2. Base1 and base2. Let this function name here is 3. Change the body to function3. Now by using the object of the derived class, we can access fun1, fun2, fun3. Why? Because here derived class is created by inheriting from two base classes, fun1 as well as fun2. So d dot fun1, d dot fun2. We can access fun3 also, d dot fun3. Let us save the program, Ctrl S, run it F5. So we got the message as function1, function2, function3. That means multiple inheritance is also working properly. Now let us see about hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance is opposite to the multiple inheritance. Here we will have only one base class. We will have only one base class and we will have two derived classes, creating multiple derived classes from a single base class. So derived one of base. Likewise, let us create derived 2 class by inheriting from the base class. Now we have to create two objects. So first object for derived 1 class, second object for, let here the name is d1, second object for derived 2 class. So derived 2. Now by using derived 1 class object, we can access fun1 as well as fun2. And by using derived 2, we can access fun1 and fun3. So let us access fun1, d2 dot, let us access fun3. So d1 dot fun1, d1 dot fun2, d2 dot fun1, d2 dot fun3. Ctrl S, F5. If we observe here, function1, function2, function1, function3. So hierarchical inheritance is also working properly. Let us see the last type of inheritance, that is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. So instead of methods, we can also use variables. So in multi-level inheritance, we will have different types of levels. Let the first level is grandparent level, and the second level is parent level. So we have to derive the parent class by inheriting from the grandparent class. Grandparent class. Now we have to create the child class by inheriting from the parent class. So here parent class contains its member as well as its base class member. So parent class contains fun1 and fun2 functions. Here child class is created by inheriting from the parent class. So now child class contains its member as well as its base class member. That means it contains function1, function2 and function3. Now we need to create object for the child class. So let us create the object. Let name of the object is D. So D is equal to child. Now by using D, we can access fun1, fun2, fun3. So D dot function1, D dot function2. Likewise, we can access D dot function3 also. D dot function3. So control S. Let us run the program. So we got the output as function1, function2, function3. So this is about types of inheritance in Python programming.